Hello everyone, I'm Quinn, and today we will talk about Chavez v. Gonzales, GR number 168338, February 15, 2008. So, before we dive in, I just have to say that this case is one of the most surprising for me with Supreme Court decisions in the Philippine history. And this basically shows you the power of the government, media freedom, political scandal, and this shows how just one warning from the government can be enough to silence an entire industry. In today's world, where information spreads instantly with your phone, with the internet, and a single audio clip can change public opinion, or a single video also. Chaves v. Gonzales teaches us why protecting free expression is so important, especially when the topic is uncomfy or uncomfortable or politically explosive. So, let's break it down. What is this case all about? At its core, this case asks, can the government stop the media from airing controversial recordings just by issuing threats or warnings? It all happened during the infamous Hello Garci scandal. This is the Hello Garci is a leaked audio allegedly captured a conversation between President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo and COMELEC Commissioner Virgilio Garcilano, hinting this at possible election fraud. Instead of addressing the allegations, the audio clip, the government officials warned media outlets that airing the tapes could violate the anti-wiretapping law, also known as RA 4200. So, the big question here is, do this warning count as unconstitutional censorship or prior restraint? In short, it's about figuring out just how far the government can go in controlling the press or silence the people. So you would really think that instead of just addressing what are they really saying on the audio, they're basically just shutting down the media or the people. So they're basically showing how guilty are they in those audio clips. No? So what actually happened? Back in June 2005, this audio recording started circulating and the media began covering them because they were a matter of national concern. Because, syempre, they're the ones who is leading the country. So, having those scandals is a very big deal. Then, DOJ Secretary Raul Gonzales publicly warned that anyone who possessed or aired the tapes could be arrested under RA 4200. Soon after, the National Telecommunications Commission chimed in, saying that broadcast stations could face suspension or even lose their licenses if they air the recordings. So this is basically they're basically controlling the media na, and they're just shutting it down. And as I said earlier, instead of addressing what really happened, they're just saying their guilt. Naturally, this scared a lot of media outlets. Siyempre, who will want to go bankrupt just because of one single audio? Then, some even stopped broadcasting the tapes entirely. So just to protect their image or to protect their business, they had to follow the order. That's when Francisco Chavez stepped in and filed a petition with the Supreme Court, arguing that these warnings were unconstitutional and suppressed the press freedom. So, Francisco Chavez is basically a warrior for me, because at this point no one would really want to step in, since we're talking about big people here, the big names, so they can get bad things can happen to them, because as of the moment on that scenario, or I mean on that day, is the government were trying to suppress the media, they were trying to control, they were trying what information should release and whatnot. So Francisco Chavez stepped in and basically being a hero of who he is now. So what were the issues? And there were a few key issues the court had to tackle. Number one, did the DOJ and NTC warnings count as prior restraint? Basically stopping speech before it even happened. And next was RA 4200 a valid reason to threaten or stop the media from airing the tapes? Number 3, did these warnings create a chilling effect, causing media outlets to self-censor out of fear? And finally, should broadcast media have fewer protections because they require e-licenses to operate? All these questions help the court decide if the government had overstepped its bounds. So, what did the Supreme Court decide? The Supreme Court decided that they actually sided with Francisco Chavez, not at the government. They ruled that the government warnings were unconstitutional because they were a form of prior restraint. Basically, they were controlling things before even. Basically, they were removing the free speech. Basically, even without a formal written order, statements from government officials can carry enough weight to silence speech. Siyempre, they were the government, and they really had the power to do so. Pero it would be unruly, or basically there being a tyrant controlling the people, not having a free speech. And the court said these warnings were content-based restrictions, which means they had to pass the clear and present danger test, which they failed. There was no evidence that airing the tapes posed any immediate threats to national security or public order. And even if the tapes were illegally obtained, that doesn't automatically give the government the right to censor the press. This is actually true. Why? Because suppressing the press is basically you're saying, I want to control what people hear, what they consume, and basically they're being a tyrant at this point. In short, you can just scare the media into silence by waving RA 4200 around. So, may sinabi lang silang, may sinabi yung government na the media were violating the RA 4200, and since the media just want to protect their businesses, they just follow the order. Pero my key takeaways here is, what I learned is prior restraint is extremely dangerous. One warning from someone in power can silence many voices. Siyempre, we have our heroes, our modern heroes, which is our journalists. They're the ones who tackle the issues that we're currently facing and going to places even if it is dangerous. And the media plays a critical role in exposing wrongdoing. If the government can intimidate them into silence, the public loses access to important information. and basically just making, or I mean controlling what the people consume. And if there were no brave journalists, there would be a lot of misinformation, there would be a lot of uh, just the good side of the government. Syempre, no one really wants to show the bad side. But since journalists, they are fair, they show the good and the bad. There's really nothing wrong with the bad unless you're very guilty about it. And laws like RA 4000 shouldn't be used as tools to hide the truth or intimidate critics. And what I really don't get it is, why didn't they just address the audio clip or the video showing that the, what's the name again, the Hello Garcia scandal? No. So why did they just address the Hello Garcia scandal, and instead of doing that, they tried suppressing the press, the media, to control the information? And in today's digital age, where recordings and viral posts spread in seconds, this case is more relevant than ever, because there are actually now AIs trying to replicate the voice or the face of the famous people or the political people. They're showing, like, they're posting a kind of legit posts or a news, but in reality they just made it up. And unfortunately, some people sometimes believe in it. And so nowadays we have to be more cautious on what we consume on the social media, and to always know that every single thing doesn't mean, every single thing that you see on the social media doesn't mean it is true. Okay? And finally, freedom of expression exists to protect the uncomfortable truths, the ones powerful people don't want us to hear. And yeah, so that's Chavez v. Gonzales, a landmark case reminding us why press freedom is so essential and very important. And if you found this breakdown helpful, hit that like button, subscribe for more videos, and let me know in the comments what you think about this video. And guys, I'm King. Thank you guys for watching. Bye bye.